All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we cover some strategies to help our local restaurants, breweries, wineries, and so on through what's projected to be a pretty tough winter. This is going to be a pretty ambitious webinar, but as COVID cases are climbing, and that may push us into further restrictions, this is a time when it could hurt a lot of these businesses the most. My name is Patrick King. I'm the founder of Imagine. We're a multidisciplinary branding and marketing firm founded in 2004, and we focus on four main areas: research, strategy, branding, execution, and then optimization. Within execution, we provide web development, social media management, email marketing, video production. Essentially, we serve as a virtual marketing department to clients in the local tourism and hospitality space. We have offices in Richmond, Norfolk, Northern Virginia. So destinations in the Commonwealth are our primary focus. We've worked with establishments throughout the country, but we always bring back what we've learned for clients within our own communities. And you'll see a couple of those clients used as examples in today's presentation.
Hi, this is Lee. I am also with Imagine. I am a brand strategist, so I work with clients closely on defining their goals and how to reach them and what marketing channels to use to make that happen.
Today's talk is going to have three main areas: helping audiences move through their customer journey, enhancing promotion, building a strong brand. And finally, any questions that come up along the way, we'll tackle them all at the end. As questions come to mind, please feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll get them all answered at the end. All right. The customer journey. Every business has one, whether they plan to or not. Today, we won't just outline what that process typically is. We're also going to talk about reducing or eliminating those points of friction where people tend to drop off. And we're starting here with the customer journey because when it's time to get heavy on promotion, heavy on your marketing, we want all of our other ducks in a row so that we have a strong foundation for that promotion. It can be really disappointing to begin a big social campaign or email campaign only to find out that maybe something was wrong on your menu or your customers aren't leaving as many positive reviews as they could. So it's important for us to get this foundation first. This is the usual flow. This is a standard customer journey. The audience starts by becoming aware, either through social media, intentional search, word of mouth, and so on. And once they start to take action, just checking your reviews, visiting the website, then they enter what we call the activity phase. And this point is crucial since it's here where they decide whether or not to take action. And it's here where most people drop off. And we call this area the conversion gap. It's the first real point of friction and an area to give particular attention. When that gap does get crossed, our work's not done yet just because they became a customer. We then need to encourage repeat business because, as we all know, it's cheaper to keep a customer than to earn a new one. And finally, we want to encourage advocacy, which is the intentional positive promotion of the brand. And it's during this advocacy phase that customers reach out to their friends, invest their own social equity into sharing their own experiences on social media, and you begin to reach new audiences that you may not have been able to get to before. And the greater the advocacy, the greater the awareness, and that's where your marketing efforts really begin to scale up. And that's where you start seeing exceptional results. So now a few things that are often overlooked that can make a big difference in setting this foundation. First, Google My Business. This resource is usually set up to have your address, your website, maybe a couple of pictures, and that's it. But it can be used for a lot more than just an initial awareness tool. As I'm sure we've all seen but taken for granted, a Google My Business listing, when it's set up properly, it gets a ton of organic search visibility. It's often the most colorful thing in search results. You can see here how it dominates the search results. This is a listing for one of our clients in Charleston, South Carolina, that has a couple locations, and in the middle of the pandemic is in the process of opening their third. When you log into your Google My Business account, there are a number of boxes that I'd like for us to cover. First, your account is provided a posting ability, similar to Facebook or any other social channel. However, the strategy for this shouldn't be looked at the same way. These posts aren't shared, they seldom get likes or comments, but they do allow the business owner to share upcoming events or specials. And this part really stands out in their listing. I know I just said that these posts are used for making announcements, and that's not the same as what the other channels are for. When you post to other channels, you want shares and you want conversation. Those are very important in other places. Here, you have to use it a little differently. It's more of a one-way focus with less discussion. And it helps show Google that your business is active. So it improves your chances of the listing being shown higher up, being shown more frequently, more prominent in Google Maps, as well as in traditional search results. Next, and possibly the most important, are the reviews. We live in a time of increasing uncertainty, so having a slew of recent positive reviews can make the difference in whether or not someone decides to give you a chance. Once again, reviews play heavily into Google's ranking algorithm, so consistency, recency, and positivity from real users are going to have a profound impact on that conversion gap problem. We'll talk a little bit later about how to increase your reviews. Okay. Finally, images. While having images of food makes perfect sense, and your customers will often take care of this for you, this is also an area to showcase your new hours, upcoming entertainment, or ways that you and your staff are taking safety precautions. Remember, this can be used for sharing information as well, and not just pretty pictures. All in all, Google My Business listing developed completely and with intention and updated as part of your overall social strategy will build awareness, improve action, and ultimately work to sustain your bottom line.
And I'll add, as far as the Google My Business, once you get that optimized and set up and good to go, it is also a good idea to revisit it every now and then to make sure your information is up to date. And I've come across a couple of instances where my wife and I would go out to eat, and we would look at Google My Business, and it says, yes, we're open. And we get there to find out they had different hours, or they're still not doing dine-in. So if you begin using Google My Business, it's a good idea to, doing something as simple as putting it in your calendar on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, just to make sure to check that your information is up to date and correct.
Yeah, that's perfect. And speaking of updated business hours, which we can all agree are important, most restaurants we see don't take advantage of their header images on their social accounts. And we all know what those are. The space taken up at the top of social profiles is often wasted with either a blown up shot or an entree, or in many cases, it's left completely blank. The business hours section, while it's visible, it's kind of easy to overlook. So take advantage of the header space by sharing a graphic of either new hours, upcoming events, promotions, coupon codes, whatever. It can still be attractive and still be on brand, but it can also help provide timely information and show that you're open and you're keeping things current. I mentioned reviews earlier, and it's worth diving deeper into them. People are more inclined to post a review when something unusual happens, and sadly, it's often when things are unusually bad. Now, we've seen QR codes make a comeback as a contactless way to view the restaurant's menu, so let's leverage them to boost positive reviews. When your staff feels confident that a customer has had a great experience, make sure you keep a small stack of business card sized review requests on hand. You can slip them in with the check, and these can be cheaply printed and have 2, 3 QR codes for the customers to easily leave a positive review on their chosen platform before leaving. They could also take it with them if they're in a hurry to remind that they can post a review later. All right. And since I mentioned restaurant menus, I also like to point out that many restaurants have their menus posted on multiple locations. Make sure that when a menu item is modified or added or removed, that you've covered everywhere your menu is shown. If an entree is listed to be served with mashed cauliflower and the customer gets mashed potatoes, that could be a problem. And it's one that's real easy to avoid. A couple more points to enhance the customer journey. It's no surprise that searches for food delivery more than quadrupled this year. And the results are often dominated by like DoorDash, Grubhub, or some of the big guys like Domino's. But for a small Google ad spend of, let's say, $10 a day, you can improve your business's visibility on not only search results, but also in maps. And if customers go to your website instead of going to, say, DoorDash or Uber Eats, then you have better control of which service they use, which ultimately saves you money on delivery expenses. So you're getting more of that money back by having a say in which service they choose to use. Before we move on to promotion, I want to go over some social media best practices that we talked about in a recent webinar. Uh, First, there's some things to avoid. Specifically, Facebook's algorithm uh, reduces visibility of posts that have regulated products in the post. In other words, alcohol. So you have to be really careful about what you put in the content. Also, content that users broadly dislike, posts that have the words contest or giveaways in there, they're starting to be seen less. And also, Facebook has their own set of trigger words, things like free, discount, sweepstakes, sale, stuff like that. Make sure that you're avoiding those trigger words. Sporadic or inconsistent posting, and this is true on all platforms. If you decide that you want to do 5 posts a week on a platform and you drop off, then that sends a message to the platform that you're less active, that you're less that you're and they'll respond in kind. So it's best to start a campaign of doing 2 posts a week when you know that you can maintain that for the long term, instead of trying to hit things really hard only to drop off later. And also, and this has been the case for a long time. Text only posts, yeah, don't. They get overlooked. They don't carry as much value or weight within social algorithms. Instead, the things to lean into are whenever a platform offers up a new feature. Instagram Reels is Instagram's response to TikTok, just like Facebook and Instagram Stories was a response to Snapchat. Whenever these new features come up, make sure to take advantage of them, because the platforms are going to be giving extra visibility to these features because they want the features to succeed. So your content is going to get more visibility. Next, respond to comments. Whenever somebody comments on a post, try to turn it into a positive conversation. I've seen some pages go so far as to engage with local businesses pages as the restaurant. Try to strike up conversation, ask questions, encouraging response. Um, the more robust the media, the better. So stuff like video can go a long way. It doesn't have to be professional. As a matter of fact, I'll talk about that a little later, but professional video can actually work against you. And then tagging and hashtagging, being deliberate about the hashtags that you use, doing your research, and then trying to tag any individual or business that's related to the content of the post. I know that's a lot. It's like reading a bunch of Cliff Notes, but the full webinar is it's available on YouTube. You can find it there, or if you want to send me an email, I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
And one of the things that I would add to that of leaning into with the social posts, your review platforms like Yelp are also considered social platforms. So, when someone leaves a negative review, we all jump on that and respond to it because we want, the users to see that we are addressing whatever the issue is. What we don't do sometimes is respond to the 4 and 5-star reviews. So in regards to comments, when you get a review, if it's a really good review, even a simple thank you, I so much, we're glad that you enjoyed your experience at our restaurant. That is just as important as responding to the negative reviews.
That's exactly right. Yeah. All right. Well, while I'm sure that felt like we talked a lot about marketing strategy, that was just the groundwork. Doing what we've covered so far may not make significant change on its own, but it will make the work we're about to cover far more effective. In this promotion section, we're going to work on making your establishment hard to ignore. First, and this is one of the ones I love the most, every establishment that's successful on social media has 1 or 2 ambassadors in their team. And this is a person that has a significant active following and shares the personality of the business in a way that's fun and conversational. Assign at least 1 social media champion, the more the better. The owner or owners would be ideal, but anyone with a following would work. Just make sure that the content is personal but on brand. These are posts for a couple restaurants near our Manassas office. In fact, CJ Finn's is directly downstairs from it. Now, they're fortunate to have multiple social media champions that have pretty sizable followings. And the reason why I say that the owner or owners would be ideal is, well, you can see from the owner on the right how much more engagement they can get if they've cultivated their own audience. Chris Sellers does a great job of sharing short conversational videos to keep his customers engaged. And they're not well produced. As I said before, they don't have to be. In fact, the simpler the video, the more easily people can relate to the person speaking. And next, and I know this isn't a secret, but hardly any restaurants email regularly. This is a massive missed opportunity, and you don't need to send emails weekly, but every other week can go a long way. Now, I understand that we're covering a lot of additional things that an already busy business owner could do, but beyond the argument that you can work smarter and be more effective with the same hours in the day, you don't want to wait until you have plenty of time to do these things, because when you have plenty of time, it's too late. A MailChimp account is free to start and it's super easy to use. And we here can help any business get set up with it and provide training to help them make it part of their marketing program. And the emails don't need to look awesome like this. This is great. I'd love to see them, but you don't have to feel like your emails have to look like this whenever you send them out. It doesn't need to have super fancy graphics or a catchy theme. This here is an email for a client. It's just getting started with MailChimp. They imported their contacts from Toast and starting to send out emails every 2 weeks. The results were immediate and pretty significant, all attributed to emails. It takes time, sure, but it's time well spent. And don't think you have to have absolute perfection in order for it to work, because it can work very well right off the bat. Another strategy that's proven successful is active outreach to major employers. When we were helping Cuban Gypsy Pantry open their second location, The first place we went is to the major employers in the area. There were three. There's a Boeing plant, a Bosch plant, and the local military base, the Joint Base Charleston. Each opportunity needed its own approach, but by focusing only on three areas, we got in front of 33,000 people that need to eat lunch every day. So you can provide an introductory discount, host an employee after hours, or contact their HR department to research catering opportunities. I know I fast forwarded through email, but Lee, did you want to cover anything when it came to that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Um, Next, and I know this slide is hard to read, but it's to leverage your positive reviews. Don't limit the visibility of these to just the platform where they were posted. Instead, get some more miles out of them by cross-posting them to all your other channels. Not only are they effective in getting new customers, but you're providing that original reviewer a bit of a celebrity moment, and that does encourage repeat business. I mean, when you go online and see either a photo of yourself or something like that and it's painted in a positive light, for many of us it feels pretty good, and you're kind of doing the same thing to the person that posted this review. It shows that you're paying attention, and it shows that it's important to you. This post was created in Canva, which is a really easy to use app that many businesses are already using. You can also get other free resources to share your reviews. My favorite is the Google Marketing Kit. You can get free social graphics, free printed posters, table tents, stickers, really tons of stuff. And they're printed with the customer reviews that were left on Google. And it's really easy. You just go to this website to get started. And all you need is Google My Business account with a couple positive reviews. That's it. And you don't even pay for shipping. If you want to boost your social audience, one of the best ways I've seen this done is by hosting what they call influencer dinners. Every community has social media users with large-ish active followings, and this concept works even if you don't have a social media champion on staff. Host a quarterly invitation-only dinner for less than 12 influencers in your area. And you'll need the meals to be free, but this is an investment that really pays off. If you provide an impeccable experience, they share it with their followers, and at the end of the event, ask them who they recommend to attend the next one, and then now you're cycling through influencers. They're going to share this out to their audience, and their audience is going to be interested because they're already interested in what the influencer posts already. Now, to show that this concept works, there was one restaurateur that has given this concept a brand of its own, and now holds influencer dinners in 9 cities in 3 different countries, and it's a whole platform designed around it. You can find this on Facebook. Now, you don't have to expand it to something this big, but the growth of this program was based on the power of influencers, the same thing that you can harness in your own community. And you can develop a manageable program like this for your business. The final promotional strategy is SMS, or text marketing. Emails are great, but not everyone interacts with them. Text marketing gets a 99% open rate and a return on an investment that definitely makes it worth considering. It's low cost, high touch, and as complicated as sending out a text-only email. There's a platform that we recommend using. It's the one that we use for a couple clients here. It's called Easy Texting. They have a pay-as-you-go plan, so there's no big upfront costs or long-term commitment. Really, you just pay for the text messages you send. There's no subscription cost or anything, and the platform is super duper easy. Now, of course, we know that everything that we've mentioned here can't all be done at once. And maybe they can't all be done at all together. And some will make some sense for your business while others may not. But it really only takes a strategy of like 4 to 5 elements to grow your business even over this winter. Now, you may remember Chris Sellers from earlier. His social media activity, combined with two to three other tactics he uses have given him his best second and third quarters ever. It's been in business for about 5 years, and this has been his best year ever. And to be growing in a time when other restaurants are barely holding on is pretty remarkable. And really is due to employing only a handful of tools and doing them consistently. And consistency is vital to your strategy. Even when your marketing works, even when things are going gangbusters, do not slow down, because it's the work you do now that creates momentum in the future, and you need to build momentum to get you through harder times. So don't pump the brakes. All right. Now let's talk about branding. We know branding is important, right? But it's even more important now, and it's harder to manage now when your expertly prepared meals look great in the restaurant, but then look like this in your kitchen. So the delivery process, yes, it can be messy, and when your packaging looks like everyone else's, you don't really have a consistent brand experience, right? So instead, I've seen some creative and cost effective approaches to bringing a brand into the homes of customers. Many restaurants provide recipes and ingredients for people to recreate their meals at home, which is surprisingly popular during this time of increased DIY. Normally, when you want to order in food, you want it to all be done and you don't have to do any work. But there seems to be this heightened interest of getting the recipes and kind of making dinner together at home, and that's a trend that's picking up. You have meal kits, cocktail kits, even bartending and cooking classes. Um, I've done a couple of them. I've recently attended a bartending class that was held on Zoom, where I learned how to make like a half dozen different variations of the old fashioned. Yeah, I learned some more about whiskey types, dark rum recipes, and did it all at home. And it cost me $10. And the Zoom meeting was packed. There were a ton of people on there. So if you have the talent on staff, this is a great opportunity to project your brand into the homes and lifestyles of your customers. You simply deliver the ingredients shortly before the meeting, and then they're all set. Next, think about when you get a delivery order at home. And it's not just food. Many Amazon shippers like to add a little something to their orders to improve the customer experience. It could be a discount code or even a quick handwritten thank you note. I mean, that can go a long way, but it doesn't need to stop there. You could pack some crayons and coloring pages if a kid's meal was in the order. And the sky's the limit. It doesn't have to be expensive, just something unexpected. And the fact that it's unexpected is really where it's powerful. No, this is a bit more of a hack than a marketing tactic. But since the pandemic started, baked goods and dessert sales have gone through the roof. Many restaurants are reporting increased dessert sales, which they usually have a higher sales margin. So you're getting more profit from them. Uh, and when you're in restaurants, people are less inclined to order dessert when they've already had dinner, but they will order them more often when they haven't eaten anything yet and they have to order it all together at once. So, ask your restaurant owners, are dessert sales up? Maybe put them at the top of the menu instead of the bottom, and organize the rest of your menu this way as well. You don't have to stick with the old appetizer, entree, dessert format. If something provides greater margins, and and people are ordering them more, shift your menu around. Next, take a look at your website, and this can often be the biggest opportunity for brand experience for carry out and delivery customers. For the Gypsy Pantry, we wanted to tell the story of the restaurant and put the owners front and center. This is an approach that won't work for like Domino's or any of the big guys. Showing that the people in the kitchen are the members of the same community And people just like the rest of us can create an instinctive connection that can go a long way in building a brand. So your about page, it should really have something that introduces the introduces the owners, tells the story of the restaurant, explains why you do what you do, kind of gets that passion across. And your website's also a place for more than food. Many restaurants, like our client Xandra's here, has adds merchandise options to their online ordering. So they'll have this mask that, as you can tell, is multifunctional, and you can just add it onto your order for $5. You can have one or two items like T-shirts or masks that you keep on hand in the restaurant, or you can run with an idea like we have at Imagine. You may make a little bit of money from this approach, but it's not really the money that you make right off that matters. It's the brand presence that really pays off. With drop shippers popping up left and right, you can set up on-demand printing and shipping, so you don't have to manage the process. Someone orders a piece of merch and the drop shipper takes care of it. Whether you're going to go with a couple things that you keep on hand in the store, or a completely new store all in and of itself, there are two different approaches that can help keep your brand out in the world. Finally, keep it fun. Stay creative, stay passionate, and keep trying to do things differently. And one of our recent podcast episodes, we have our guest, Alan Adamson, shared 4 words that resonate throughout everything that I think we've covered today. People don't share ordinary. They share emotional experiences, things they want others to see. Ordinary won't get you far. Don't settle for ordinary. Constantly pursue extraordinary. And speaking of the podcast, I'd be a poor promoter if I didn't share our own, the Imagination podcast. It's available pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, and our recent episode just dropped about an hour ago. We publish an episode every other week, and it's designed to help businesses to continue to think differently and move from ordinary to extraordinary. And with that, let's check and see if there are. Oh, there we go. Will you get a copy of the slides? Yes, you're going to get a copy of the slides. As a matter of fact, we're going to put a recording up of this talk on YouTube, so you'll be able to access the slides, and you'll also be able to, listen to us talk through them. All right. All right. I don't see any other questions. So, if other questions do pop up, here's our. Oh. You're very welcome, Cheryl. All right, great. All right, so here's our contact information. You can find us at imaginedc.net, or give us a call, and also give my email address earlier. And you can also get a hold of Lee at lee@imaginedc.net. And with that, I guess we will call this a wrap. You'll all get an email probably this afternoon, or maybe even tomorrow, with a link to the slides. All right, everyone, have a great week, and I hope to see you all soon.